Hey man, what you got?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do you mean? You're my dealer, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you got any good stuff, dude? Come on.
Oh, no, it's all sold out.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Not even a morsel. Come on, I'm dying here.
Oh, I do have this box.
What's in it?
Junk.
Sounds good.
You kids and your video games. No! No! No!
Alright, let's see what's inside this thing.
Nobody likes a bad video game, and nobody sets out to make one, unless they're an RPG Maker developer. Most of the bad games on Steam are hastily thrown together products trying to make a bit of cash. There's a few that are so bad they're good, or so bad they're just interesting.
Did you see that, Zach? F.K. in the coffee.
But the large majority are just boring and sad. This is especially prevalent in the RPG scene. Strangely enough, the lowest rated RPGs on Steam weren't RPG Maker games, which is surprising because there is a massive stigma around them, and a lot of the ones on Steam are quick, pathetic cash grabs. I mean, I love RPG Maker, but I won't deny that there's a lot of people that throw subpar, bad games made in it onto Steam. It's notorious as an engine for its bad, childish, and unpolished games that somehow find their way onto Steam. But I was surprised that none of the games I played were made in RPG Maker. Rather, they were almost all made in Unity. Which I guess makes sense, there's a lot of asset flipping that comes from Unity, which is also done for quick money. But all of these games were free, which makes me think that there was genuine love and effort put into them. Which somehow makes it worse that they're still so bad. And mostly just boring. All of these games were boring. When I first played them, I couldn't make it past the 20-minute mark, and some of them just broke right out of the gate. Actually, speaking of breaking, out of the 9 games I played, 3 of them wouldn't even get past the title screen. This game was missing the actual game. This game, which when I slapped into multiple different translators is probably called You Long in the Sky Balancing War, was also missing the actual game. This one I was actually a little sad about, because the developers seemed genuinely into the game, and the game itself looked interesting. However, I and everyone else got the same host not found error, and while the dev was adamant they had a solution, it was later revealed that the dev team was disbanded, and when asked if there would be a new build, we were told that only when McGee tells him. Okay, so the rest of these games actually work. Oh no. This game pissed me off so much that I stopped playing at the 12-minute mark to go and record me ranting about how pointless it is. Oh, I just click a lot, and he dies. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting. I guess I shouldn't have been expecting very much from this game. It's a clicker game. A formulaic, boring clicker game. The objective is to buy enough upgrades that eventually you don't have to click at all, and can instead just watch your hilariously badly animated character fumble around the screen, killing enemies before they even get to attack. Look at, they're just flailing around. They can't combat me. They don't know what to do. He didn't even come close to hitting me. What was that? He just thrust it into me. There's not even contact. There's no contact here. Clicker games in general seem pointless to me. I don't get the appeal of sitting there and watching a character do things with minimal interaction from the player. So yeah, boring game. Not fun to play, not fun to watch. Boy, it's gonna be hard to make this video interesting. Holy shit, they have in-app purchases. This game, like its predecessor, was pointless. There have been a plethora of games that came before it that have done everything it does, but better. Dinosaur game. Seriously though, The Isle came out 2 years before this game and is better in every single regard. The only reason to choose this game is because it's free, and I guess if you're super into dinosaurs and can't afford The Isle, it's a whatever. Go for it. But there's nothing special about dinosaurs or prehistoric adventure, and I'm not even 100% sure what the purpose of the game is or how to progress. And the loading screens take a million years to load and almost crash the game. Woohoo! When playing these games, this was the first one I played, which set a really weird expectation for the rest of the stuff I was about to get into. Sure, it was awful, but it ran smoothly and looked passable, save for that god-awful title screen, so I was not prepared for what came to follow. Anyways, Ambition is basically a dungeon crawler. It's supposed to be an RPG, but I couldn't find a single way to unlock skills or to progress. The only way I won these fights was from the RNG, and I swear Mr. Centipede over here is impossible to beat. I tried for way too long, and I'm so angry. Anyways, the combat is literally just clicking attack, hoping that for some reason their attacks heal you instead of hurt you, and then clicking X on the dialogue box and repeating that until you win or lose. I picked this game because it didn't look like a clicker, but honestly at this point it's become a clicker. The dialogue is strange and unnatural, and all in all the game is pretty bad, but it is somewhat engaging, and I was at least mildly entertained the whole time, which is why I put it at the end of this segment, because it's dancing right on the line of boring and mildly interesting. Speaking of mildly interesting. Disguise was a laggy mess, and its graphical prowess was so great that it overloaded OBS and screwed up my recording. Which is why from now on, while I talk about Disguise, I'll be role-playing as your uninterested dinner date, because I didn't memorize the script. Because the game ran so poorly, I had to put it lowest in this section, because like Ambition, it blurs the line between mildly interesting and boring and bad. I actually feel like if the game ran smoothly, I could see myself having a lot of fun with it, especially considering it was free. 10-year-old me would have had a blast, although by that point I was getting famous from a Minecraft YouTube channel, and probably didn't have time to play the skies. Ow! This game actually has a lot of content. There are quests, lots of things to craft, and an actual objective with things to do, but that doesn't make the game good, just makes it better than horrible. The voice acting is a joke. It's just Google translated dialogue that they clicked the read aloud voice on and then recorded.
Most likely, your clothes is at Russians.
It sounds awful and makes no sense.
Your underpants are great, of course, but even in the wasteland it looks a little ridiculous.
The tutorial teaches you nothing, and honestly, if I went into everything else the game did wrong, we would be here all day. So I'll simply leave it at this. Disguise has the ability to be a mediocre free game that kids with nothing better to do might enjoy, and I actually did run into a few other players while playing. But as of current, it's miserable to play. Just like you, I'm leaving. Gosh. Fuck. You suck. Okay, this game is actually kind of good. The dialogue is pretty bad, but the art style is interesting and the actual base cycle of the game is pretty fun to interact with. If it was a mobile game, the timers in this game are ridiculous. You're building up your hotel, or in my case, has-been hotel, but it takes 17 minutes to build the first water pump, and 14.5 minutes to just clear debris so you can wait again to actually build the structure. It's absolutely ridiculous to expect someone to wait that long. Now, if it could be running in the background on, let me just say, your phone, while you're doing something else, it'd be fine. Same for the exploration and combat parts. I'm not 100% sure how PvP works. I actually did run into someone else playing this game and died immediately, so that's good. As far as I can tell, you're required to be in the exploration zone for 10 minutes, running from place to place, waiting to search, grabbing the items, walking to the next place, occasionally fighting, and that's about it. The combat isn't bad, and it's a lot better than anything else we've seen today, and that sense of accomplishment when you find items is actually rather well done. If this game was streamlined and polished up so the timers are shorter, or everything is shorter, it would be a decently okay PC game. Everything just seems to happen in slow motion, and if the developers could fix that, I could see it being alright. But as it stands, good mobile game. Oh, this is the Wally is the or Eva, right? Eva is the microtransactions character. Dawn of the Breakers is actually a decently fun mobile game that is for some reason on Steam. It has a couple of interesting systems and ideas, an okay, fun little story I could see your audiences enjoying, and enjoyable combat. Perfect for your weeb children who won't stop bugging you.
Ooh, Daddy Senpai, can you buy me an Asuna body pillow?
Oh my god, you are such a disappointment.
There really isn't much to be said about this game. Most of the negative reviews are talking about it being the spiritual successor to Get Amped 2, which I know nothing about and which looks like way too much anime for one man to process, and that it's bad in comparison. To me, it's a pretty good game I could see kids having fun with when they're on their phones, with nothing better to do. At the end of the day, none of these games are that good. Sure, some are better than others, but even I would choose something like Fortnite over any of them, and it takes a lot to get me to want to play Fortnite. Most of these games belong on mobile, or just don't belong anywhere. It really highlights Steam's complete lack of quality control, but really, in the end, these games are sort of whatever. They exist, they aren't offensive, and are really just pointless. And I think that that's the worst thing these games did. They were safe, non-offensive games that didn't strive to be unique or creative, that didn't try to push the medium to its limits, push human creativity to its farthest reaches, and that simply stuck to the formula of what makes them money. I think that that is truly the most disappointing thing. If you try to make something creative and interesting but fail, that's still, in my eyes, so much better than making a game that does nothing at all.